So Elon Musk actually spoke about the Cybercab for 2026, the autonomous taxi service, and essentially he spoke and said that probably, well, I tend to be a little optimistic on timeframes, but in 2026, Musk said, but before 2027. So he was basically asked, when will consumers be able to buy this? And 2026 is the date, but he basically says before 2027. So possibly towards the end of next year, we could potentially be seeing the Cybercab start to roll out to consumers. So this one would be super interesting because I know the Tesla Cybertruck, that thing definitely shook some heads, some in a good way, some in a bad way. Elon Musk is known for his crazy designs and, just trying to be, somewhat innovative. So I really just wonder how this is going to impact the, economy, the markets, just how people are going to respond to this, like if people are going to use this all the time, and also how expensive this will be, because the Cybercab is essentially going to be something that is supposed to be mass market, something that's going to save you time and usher in a new way to travel that is just more remarkably effective. And honestly, I can actually see it making sense. I mean, if you could get into a car that's literally just going to take you to your destination, is going to be completely safe, smooth sailing, you don't need to wait for anyone else, and you don't have to drive. I mean, why wouldn't you get a Cybercab? So this is going to be something that I will be looking out for in 2026, and I'm honestly quite excited to see how it occurs. Now, remember how we were talking about the age of abundance and all of the other things that Elon Musk spoke about? This age of abundance is essentially set to be brought about by the humanoid robots and the development of artificial general intelligence. And Elon Musk says that the way how the economy will be transformed, not potentially in 2026, but in the future, will lead to essentially universal high income, basically where everyone gets money even if they don't work, and the government would send a payment to every adult each month from some kind of shared fund. And because there are robots creating an age of abundance, because billions of robots can produce far more food, houses, and gadgets and service than humans alone ever could, the benefits might just be shared with anyone. Now, I know that is, of course, highly debated because we do live in a capitalist society. I think it's worthwhile listening to if it provides us with any guidance on how the future may unfold.
I think we're headed to a radically different world. I think a good world, an interesting world. My prediction actually for humanoid robots is that ultimately there will be tens of billions. I think everyone will want to have their personal robot. You can think of it like as though you had your own personal C-3PO or R2-D2, but even better. Then who wouldn't want to have their own personal C-3PO or R2-D2? That would be pretty great. I also think it unlocks an immense amount of economic potential, because when you think of like what is the output of an economy, it is productivity per capita times population or capita. Once you have humanoid robots, the actual economic output potential is tremendous. It's really unlimited. Potentially, we could have an economy 10 times the size of the current global economy, where no one wants for anything. Sometimes in AI they talk about universal basic income. I think it's actually going to be universal high income, where anyone can have any goods or services that they want. Now, there obviously are some risks, which illustrate perhaps if we don't do this right, you could have like a James Cameron sort of movie, Terminator. We don't want that one. But having sort of a Star Trek future would be great, where we're out there exploring the stars, discovering the nature of the universe, and a level of prosperity and hopefully happiness that we can't quite imagine.
One of the first predictions that Elon Musk made was at the Tesla All Hands on March the 20th of this year, and he made a prediction that humanoids are essentially going to be the biggest product in the entire world. And this prediction isn't just for 2026, it's more of an overall prediction about where the market's headed, but I still think it's rather important that we understand the pending changes.
Like my prediction is that Optimus will be the biggest product of all time by far. Nothing will even be close.
And when we actually look at the report from Goldman Sachs, they actually show us that yes, humanoid robots are expected to become a $38 billion market cap by 2035. And we can see overall that growth does start in 2026, 2027, 2029, with the market rapidly expanding until the 2040s. I know I've shown this probably too many times now, but when we look at companies like Pi0, they've recently demoed their recent breakthrough, their generalist model, where they could essentially put this, brain into this robot and have it work on things that it hasn't seen before. And one of the things people commented on when they were like, okay, yes, humans adapt to new environments, robots don't easily adapt. And in this demo, it was impressive, but there were some drawbacks. You have to understand that, this is just the first step into ensuring that this is possible. Because before this, you would have to essentially train a robot in that same environment millions and millions of times for it to get the right task. So it just went into this, house that it hadn't seen before, and it was able to do the task that it was supposed to. So I think the general theme here is that, things are changing quickly and slowly, even if you may not realize. This company is called Foundation Robotics, and essentially they have something interesting. So transformers for actions like robotics or AI agents work like LLMs, where instead of predicting words, they predict actions. And, LLMs can hallucinate and make stuff up, and action models can also do unreliable things. So to fix this, we need a reasoning layer, something that keeps the model grounded and logical. And the solution that they suggest is to tie this reasoning layer to the physics of the action space using something called DVBFs. And this method makes training easier and more general purpose. So you don't need to create separate reward functions for every task like traditional reinforcement learning. So this is scalable, task agnostic, meaning you can apply it broadly without any custom tweaking. And they're building smarter AI that are essentially linked to physics. So this one as well was super, super interesting. And additionally, of course, Elon Musk's company, the Tesla bot that we see here, just produced an amazing update. I'm not even sure if most people did see this, since it wasn't like a huge demo video, but this was one of the ones that was super, super interesting, because this is the first time that we actually got to see robots that looked realistic in 1x speed. Most people don't realize that most robotic demos are sped up at least twice, because robots are inherently quite slow when they're performing these actions. So having a robot perform these actions at 1x speed is something that is remarkably incredible when we take a look at how far that progression has come. So I can't imagine that if they're moving with this amount of fluidity and agility, how much better these robots are going to be in the next 3 to 4 years. Now, when it comes to the prediction on artificial general intelligence, Elon Musk said in a live stream that he basically expects it to be 2026.
Grok's coming to Tesla, so you'll be able to access Grok through your Tesla, and you'll just be able to ask it to do whatever you want. You could ask your car to go pick up a friend or anything. You can think of it; the car will be able to do it. Yeah, you'll be able to ask your Tesla to go pick up groceries, pretty much anything. Optimus is really going to be next level. You'll be able to skin Optimus pretty much with anything. So people on the internet have asked me to make catgirls real, and actually you can make catgirls real if you have a robot. You have a robot catgirl. Yeah, Optimus will be able to pick up the kids from school, and Optimus will be able to be school if you want. Be able to teach kids anything. Yeah, and it'll support any language too. I think AGI will be next year, probably. It's not next year. It's, let's say, 2020.
When things are changing rapidly, the ability to predict the future, I think, is becomes a lot harder because of the rate of change is so great. But I think some things are fairly obvious to predict, which is that we'll have AI or AGI that's at a level that it can really do almost any cognitive, I think really not almost, really any cognitive task. It's just a question of when. One could debate, is it, smarter than any human at the end of next year, or is it 2 years or 3 years? But it's not more than 5 years, that's for sure. I think it's probably end of next year before AI can do better than any individual human could do. But it's a much higher bar to say, well, is it smarter than human intelligence collectively? But if the rate of change continues, that's when I think probably 2029 or maybe 2030 is where digital intelligence will probably exceed all human intelligence combined.
Elon Musk isn't the only person with this kind of prediction. When we take a look at what Sam Altman said in his recent blog post, we can see that super intelligence is referenced several times. They, talk about the fact that they know how to build AGI as they traditionally understand it. And in 2025, they talk about AI agents being there, which is, of course, something that we do have. So it's going to be super interesting to see how this does evolve. Now, remember how we were talking about the age of abundance and all of the other things that Elon Musk spoke about? This age of abundance is essentially set to be brought about by the humanoid robots and the development of artificial general intelligence. And Elon Musk says that the way how the economy will be transformed, not potentially in 2026, but in the future, will lead to essentially universal high income, basically where everyone gets money even if they don't work, and the government would send a payment to every adult each month from some kind of shared fund. And because there are robots creating an age of abundance, because billions of robots can produce far more food, houses, and gadgets and service than humans alone ever could, the benefits might just be shared with anyone. Now, I know that is, of course, highly debated because we do live in a capitalist society.